Welcome back everybody. In this video, we will try to learn how do you pass and extract route or query parameters. In React Router, route parameters and query parameters can be passed and extracted to make our applications more dynamic. So let's start with the route parameters. Later we'll look into the query parameters. Route parameters are the part of the URL that can change and are often used to represent specific items in a list, such as user ID, product ID, company ID, depends upon the requirement. Let's try to update our app.js. Let me copy this part and comment out everything. The other way of writing the router, let's try to see that in this as well, right? So remove everything. And you see, browser router is wrapped in index.js. Uh, it wrapped the app.js. So I would like to comment out the browser router, and let's try to use that in the app.js itself. Right? How do I do that? Just write an router. You'll try to import that part, and I wanted this router, browser router, to be the router. So let me do that as in named import browser router as router. All right. So you need not write browser router in index.js. This would be enough for us. Now let's define the routes. Before that, let me try to have the navbar. Navbar, let me write exclusively navbar here. And you see, there is another way of linking. Instead of going to an anchor tag, you can also link with an link, please. Link in an uppercase. A link takes an parameter like where I need to go, pass that URL here. So I would like to go with an slash, which is in our home one. So home page. Likewise, let me write one more couple of things. This time, let me have the other way. Uh, User. This is where I'm trying to pass the trying to pass the route parameter. User slash and the one. What has to be loaded that you decide upon the requirement. So let me write the another user, please. Okay, it can be a user, it can be a product, it can be any other thing, please. Depends upon requirement. Let me keep it as simple as possible, and let me name this as an user one and this as an user two. I don't want to give any. Okay, space also is required for readability. Right, let's write the routes now. We already learned how to write the routes in the last video. And route takes two attributes, path, and let me have the path as an uh, basic one, or home page. So element, second attribute is an element. Element equals to home. And last time we already defined home component. I hope it got imported. It seems not. Home.js, it did not got imported. What I'll do, I'll try to close this part. I'll copy the home here and paste it. And also link also should be got imported. It seems not imported correctly. Yeah, you see link also got imported. Routes did not got imported. Let me import that properly. It got imported and route got already imported. Now let's write the another route, the simpler one. Copy this where it's I'll be linking to the users place. So user is a basic URL, right? To this to pass in uh, to pass then our route parameter. Let's try to write colon. Colon is important place. So how do you define a route parameter? By using colon. All right, colon and user ID. Let me try to write a component for this, and my component I would be writing is an, let me user. I did not write it. Let me try to write that first. User.js. All right, let's try to write the user.js where function user. All right, so usually it should return something. Let me have one division and user ID. The user ID, 1 and 2 that we have taken, that I would like to display here. So has to tag some user ID. What is that user ID? 1 and 2 as per our route parameter. So how do I get it? So first get that one by using an use params hook. So route parameters can be read by using use params hook. So let's try to store that into let destructure that user ID. Let me call that as an user ID, and whatever the use params gives, let me destructure into the user ID, and let me write to render that part here. Okay, I wanted to keep as simple as possible, please. So I'm using only the user ID. You can use any other thing. So this is what I wanted. So first import the use params hook. Use params, that is all we needed. So let me try to link this in our app.js user. Oh, it did not pick up. 1 second. Let me do copy this, paste it, and this is in the components. If I'm not wrong, user is outside the component, it seems. Yes, user is outside the component. Okay. Oh, not the home. User. I'm looking for user. Okay. I thought of creating that in the components. That's okay. So user, please. So it tries to get imported. Okay. Now let's look into that now. Going back, it seems default imported as an user. Oh, I think I did not exported that. Export default user. Now you see that, and observe the URL over here. Home component is rendering. User one, there is no space between my navbar, so ignore that part. User one, you see that. Look at this. User one, my URL here. User one is trying to is a URL, and the one is an param I'm trying to pass. Depending upon that param, what is that param? I'm trying to render that. Go into the user two again. See again, it is 2 here, and I'm trying to render that part. This is how you try to um, pass the parameters and extract the parameters. Okay, it's a very simple one place. So to pass and to define the routes with parameter, you use the colon, right? And to extract the route parameters, use the use params. I hope that made sense. Very simpler steps. This is the route. This is the URL which we try to link. And how do you pass the route parameter? By using an colon and some variable name or something. It can be anything over here. All right. So on the similar note, let's also try to pass the um, query parameters. Let's update our now here. Write one more link to search. Let me write one URL called search, and search will take an question mark. Okay, this is how you pass an query parameters, please. So to pass the query parameters, use the question mark. All right, question mark query and equals to React. Something you can give anything actually. All right, let me have this part, and name of my link is search React. Close the link. All right. So what is going wrong? Search query query equals to React. It is correct. Let's write the route for that. Route path equals search and element equals. I need to write this element. I need to write this component. Let me call that as in search component. All right. Close the route. Okay. I did not write this. Seems to be correct. Router within the router. What is going wrong here? Let's try to look into that. Let's write the another one component called search.js. Search.js. All right. So function use query. One of the in function here. Use query. Now return something called new. So how do I read my query parameters? By using an inbuilt function called URL search params and use location hook. Use location dot search. All right. So let me write actual function search and export it. Export default search. It is just an to make an modularity. I have written that in a separate function, please. So return. Now return something. H2 search query. Whatever we got it over there. Search query. How do I get this part? I need to get it from the use query hook. Let me try to store whatever it returns. Let me try to store into a variable called query. Let qr query. Right. So whatever it has returned, query.get, it has its own functionality it is trying to return. It has one more functionality within that. Let me call that as in query. So whatever use query returns, I'm trying to store into the query function. I mean, into a query over here. This query has an inbuilt functionality called get, and it is trying to get the query, please, and store that into search query. That's what I'm trying to use on the line 12. I hope this made sense. So let's look into our app directory. So what is going wrong again? App.js search. Oh, I forgot to write equals. Going back. Search is not different. I think I did not import it search. Let me import the search. Oh, it seems now it got imported. Going back, you see that search React. You see search question mark query equals to React. Search query React. The query was the React over here. You can write as many you can, please. Let me write one more here. Let me write something like KMIT, whatever may be the search over here. If I click on it, the search KMIT. If I click on it, the query is the KMIT, and that comes and sit into the use query. This is a function I'm trying to call. This is a we define the function, not an hook, please. That whatever it returned, I'm trying to get it through the query. Query comes and KMIT comes and sit into the search query. Let me go here. Search KMIT. You see that. All right. So for passing the query parameter, add query parameters to the URL directly through the navigation here. And to extract the query parameter, use location hook and URL search params. So with this one, URL search params is an API, please, inbuilt API to extract the query parameters. All right. I hope this made sense. So see you in the next video.